Welcome to the Share, Inspire and Explore podcast, the voice of the Where I'm At Burnout community. I'm Chris Wilson, and after my own journey through burnout and depression, I'm here to share real stories, inspire personal transformation, and explore the path from burnout to balance. Each episode brings honest conversations with burnout survivors, mental health experts, and mindset coaches, offering lessons, strategies, and hope. Whether you're recovering, curious, or searching for motivation, this is your space to grow. Let's dive into today's episode. Welcome to the very first episode of the Share, Inspire and Explore podcast. If you're listening or watching, you might feel drained, overwhelmed, angry, or questioning how you ended up here, at the edge of exhaustion or deep in the recovery process. Wherever you are, I want to start by saying this: you're not alone. Burnout can feel like you're isolated from the world, but what I've learned, so many of us have been there. Together, we can find a way through it. This podcast's here to be a companion on your journey, almost like a comfort blanket. It's a space for honesty, growth, and connection. I'm so glad you're here. I just want to introduce myself. I'm Chris Wilson. I'm originally from Northern Ireland. I live in Austria now, in Vienna, beautiful city. I've experienced burnout multiple times, and it was almost 2 years ago, actually, from the time this podcast is released, that I hit a point where my body and mind, at the age of 47, basically said enough is enough. And it wasn't just a wake-up call, it was a total life reset. I look back on that time as an awakening to look deep into myself and, surrender to the necessary changes. My body was telling me through ill health, you can't hide anymore. Distractions don't work. My nervous system was completely shot. My addiction to work and other escape tactics, had taken its toll on me. I didn't know who I was anymore, and the negative spiraling self-talk in my head, it was simply out of control. My relationships, job, life was a fragile mess, to be honest, and a toxic workplace was the last straw. On paper, I had a great life, amazing wife, 2 kids, lovely apartment, loving family, friends, steady job. I'll tell you, I've never felt so alone and broken than I did in that moment. And I let the autopilot life creep in and creating an environment I hated, and was winning Best Actor award for basically what was a complete theatre. And at the same time, I was wondering, well, why am I so angry, So the last 2 years have been about getting answers, following medical advice, doing the inner work on myself, being accountable, taking control of the things I can influence, and accepting the things I can't. Yeah. But doing it in a sustainable way, short, manageable steps. And I'm continuing on this path. I'm not there yet. And the recovery process takes much longer than you think. But it's possible. And it's very individual, and we will learn that as we go along. But that experience really shaped everything that's happening now. I mean, this podcast, my decision to share my story, and commitment to creating a community where people recovering from burnout can feel supported and seen, is testimony to that. I know firsthand how hard it is to navigate this alone. How did that come about? Well, basically, I took an 8-week systemic coaching program, so like career coaching, just to redefine my career options. What am I here to do? Because I was so stuck. It would be so naive of me to return to that same ladder, that same cycle. Yeah. So it's through the exercise of this 8-week coaching, all of the exercises that came within that the Where I'm At community was born. So this podcast is the voice of the community. And the community is where all the magic's going to happen. This is my new purpose. This is my path. I'd just like to thank my coach, Christina, for her role in this. But stay tuned to get to know Christina at a later point. But for this podcast, share, inspire, and explore, I was able to come up with many creative, short, snappy, to the point names for this podcast. But after doing my research, many of them were already taken. I came up with some real crackers. Look, I know it's a long name for a podcast, but share, inspire, and explore really reflects the values I hope to bring to every episode and every conversation. Because sharing means being open about the tough moments, the struggles, the setbacks, and the victories. We mustn't forget the victories. Inspiring is about finding hope, even in those dark times, and passing that spark along to others. And exploring, well, that's the fun part. That's staying curious, asking questions, seeking answers, and being willing to try new ways to heal and grow. That mindset was something I didn't have before, and it's the new addiction. It's fantastic, yeah. But this podcast is really about inviting you to join me in sharing, inspiring, and exploring together. It's not just my journey, it's our journey, yeah. So what can you expect from this podcast in the future, in the episodes? Well, we're going to start by looking at burnout as the whole. What is burnout? What's the cost to us if we ignore it? How can we recognize the signs? But more importantly, why is it so hard to talk about burnout openly? And that's part of the problem, and that's why I'm so driven about this community, because I want to raise awareness, get people to talk. If you're not okay, you're not okay, and it should be okay to say you're not okay. Well, that's a mouthful. But that was part of my problem, yeah. Kept everything inside. I felt like, well, I've nothing to complain about. I have a life. What? My problems are just so small compared to everyone else's, yeah. But that's the danger. So yeah, I'll start with burnout, and then we will discuss the first steps to recovery, which will then set the stage for me to dive into my personal story in later episodes. If you're curious about my experiences, I'll also be sharing a vlog series on the community YouTube channel from my stay in a psychiatric rehabilitation clinic last year. It's raw, real, and it's part of my commitment to, being open about what recovery looks like. So I invite you to just to get in touch, engage. This podcast is just the beginning. I'm in the process of building a community where we can connect more deeply, sharing resources, experiences, and support. While that's still in the works, and I have an asterisk here, just please be patient, as I'm alone in all of this creation. I'll be opening a waiting list soon, for those who want to be part of it from the start. It would be great to have like-minded people join me in these founding member groups. And so please get in touch. Yeah. In the meantime, you can engage by subscribing to the podcast. You can follow along on the YouTube channel, or just reach out with your own stories or questions. And I'd love to hear from you and learn about what your needs are on your journey. The first podcast episode, wow. I have to say it took a long time to press the record, and you might pick up the nervousness in my voice, but it's part adrenaline, part nerves, part many things. But I'm doing it, yeah. And this is what it's all about. Just to try it, do it. I'm 47. I'm starting a podcast and a YouTube channel. If you had told me this a few years ago, I'd be like, "What are you talking about?" But the drive is coming. It's burning in here, and I'm I'm in the zone, and I can't wait to see what comes next. I just want to dedicate this first episode to my wife, my family, and friends, who stood by me and supported me when they themselves didn't understand what was happening. Thanks. And thank you for joining me today, and being part of this first step. Burnout is not the end of your story. It's just a chance to rewrite it, yeah? And together we can figure it out, how to move forward with hope, how we can heal and get you the support you deserve. Until next time, take care of yourself. Remember, you're not alone. This is only the beginning, and it's where you're at. Thank you. That's it for today on the Share, Inspire and Explore podcast. I hope something resonated with you, a moment of clarity, encouragement, or just a reminder that you're not alone. If you find this helpful, share it with someone who might need it. Hit follow or subscribe to join us for future episodes. If you're new here, please check the link in the description to join the community. Burnout is tough, but it's also a chance to heal and rediscover what matters. Thanks for being a part of this journey, and until next time, take care, keep exploring what's possible. I'm Chris Wilson, and that's where I'm at.